All right, folks, so we are building our walls now. So last class, you should have gotten ready. We got some studs. Let me shut this guy down. We got some plates. We only made one. We made one 32-foot long plate, and we got a couple of headers. Now, while you're looking at the headers, one thing I'd like you to do is make sure you measure these, make sure you did it right last time, because we called it a 36-inch door header, which is going to be longer. We need an opening of 38 inches plus 3 inches, so that should be 41, and it is. So check by measuring the length of that. We also need to measure the length of this. Well, I accidentally grabbed the other one. Let's do that again. Measure that to make sure that for our 48-inch window that it's 51 inches long, and it is. So that's going to be important later on. All right, so now we're going to start actually laying out our walls, and we are going to make we're going to start with this left side wall over here. So it's a little hard to see. Let me expand that. And the reason we're starting with this is it only has one window in it down here. Actually, technically, it looks like it has two, but we're just going to put one 4-foot by 4-foot window in that space, and that way it'll be a little bit easier to do. So let's get started on this. If we were really laying this out, we'd have our top and bottom plates laid out, and we'd start marking them where the studs are going to go and what type of studs. Usually the X indicates where the end of a board is going to go, and we'd have it all laid out 16 inches on center or whatever on center they're going to be. This little guy right here that you see here is for an inner partition. A partition is basically an interior wall. Sometimes people mean non-load bearing when they say partition. I'm honestly not sure what it would say in the code, but a partition is essentially an interior wall that is non-load bearing, meaning there's not any weight. It's really just there to provide a separation. So think about a bathroom. You know, you have walls around your bathroom. Chances are none of those are probably load bearing. They're there because you need privacy in the bathroom. So so that's what a partition does, but that wall needs some place to go against that you can nail sheetrock to on each side, and that it's stable, and that's why you have this kind of setup. Notice there's also king studs and trimmers. Now a trimmer is also known as a jack stud. We call them jack studs. And cripples are studs that are cut off to make room for a sill or above a header sometimes, although we're doing full headers that go all the way to the top plate for us. So we are not going to be able to do this in this virtual program, but I wanted you to see how we would do this. We will also be using a solid header instead of this what's called a built-up header here, which these are probably 2x12s with a 1/2-inch piece of plywood in between, so that the thickness of this equals 3.5, 1.5, 1.5, and a half. Will equal the width of the board. And this is pretty typical for what a header would look like. And we're going to use something similar to this. And then we also have, here's an example of what a cripple would look like. So we have already made these. We will not have a gap up here above our windows or doors. And here's an example of what that partition piece would look like. Now, we are going to cheat in a few ways. One, we've already made a 32-foot long board. One of our plates is 32 feet long. That doesn't really exist in the real world. 20 is the typical max of what you're going to get for lumber. Two is we're not going to make our corners correct. We might talk about corners later on and how we do that, where the partitions are going to go, or where the a corner comes together. And that's another thing that we're going to have different. And we're going to be pretty liberal about where we place windows. Normally, you would lay out where the window is going to be And then we would decide, we go from the center mark of that window outward to make sure that it's framed incorrectly. We're going to more pick a spot and go from that spot. So it's a little different, but it still gives you the general basics of framing. And of course, we don't have any nails or fasteners anywhere. So that's another change in the virtual world. All right. So since we've talked about that, let's go on to actually start putting things together. And here's how we're going to do that. We're going to start with the window frame for a 48-inch window. And here's how we're going to do that. We're going to start a new assembly. So we're going to start an assembly. Okay, now we're in this assembly. We're going to place and insert a few parts from the studs. So we're going to expand studs by clicking on that little arrow and come in here. And we're going to need a stud. That was another thing we changed, is our studs are 92, not 92 and 5/8 like they're supposed to be. I don't know where that went. So, okay, I clicked out here. I'm pretty sure I placed, no, I guess I didn't. It would show up over here if I had placed a stud. So I don't know why. Click out here. Why are things not placing? I might be having a problem here. Let me zoom to fit, see if anything's out there. Okay, I'm not sure why it's not doing it. Maybe I have to drag and let go. Okay, I might be having an issue. I think I was clicking and holding. Yeah, that's what my problem was. You might have the same problem too. I was clicking and holding and trying to drag instead of click and then click again. All right, so we need one stud. There we go. And we're going to need now 2 jack studs. And we are going to need a header. And this is for the window. So for this one, we're going to expand the headers, and you're going to put in the 48 window one. All right. That is all we need for now. Now, in the assembly down here, we might add to this. So let's just we can recall it something else later. So I'm going to rename this as, I'm going to call it window. Let's save some space here. We don't have to. We can go through a different window. Sorry, thinking as I go along. Window frame. Actually, I'm going to do another thing here too. I'm going to put in a sill. So name it window frame. I'm going to insert one more part I forgot about. I do want a sill. Sill jack stud. No, that's a jack stud. I need to go back and make a sill. Okay, good learning point here, folks. So I'm going to get out of this for now. I'm going to leave this open. We'll come back to it in a moment. But I do need to make that sill. Okay, so let's go back to our we've got studs, we've got plates. Let's go ahead and in the plates one, let's rename this as plates, and with the little ampersand, plates and sills. Enter. Now, if you'll recall, we already did a sketch where we had a whole bunch of things that we can use. So let's go turn on that sketch again and zoom in, and we're going to extrude. Now, because I want to think of all these things as plates, I think I'll go to the end, the bottom right here, the other way, so it goes the same as this board. And we're going to extrude that to 48 inches because that is the rough opening for our window. Good. And if you remember right, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to call part 2, rename that as sill 48. Because I want to know what it is, then I want to know how long it is. And if you'll recall, we edited the appearance, and I believe, oh no, now I need to remember, let me look at the other one. Thank you for being patient. The appearance was that top middle one. There we go. Right click, edit appearance. You may have made yours a different color, and that's fine. All right, now I can turn the sketch off, and now I've got my 48-inch sill. Okay, now let's go back to our window frame assembly. If you weren't following along all of that, you might have to go back and watch a little bit. And we need to go insert now that sill that I just made, this sill 48. Click, click. Okay. Now, we're going to put this together. Remember that you can either be looking at it from the inside or the outside. So it's kind of symmetrical and we can flip it. So here's how we're going to do that. This is the stud. If you hover over here, we can make sure that we know what's what. The top of the stud is going to go match up with the top, or the top of the header, excuse me, will match with the top of the stud. So let's go ahead and insert, or sorry, we're going to do a fastened mate. Click. I'm going to mate this. Now we've already played around with mates a little bit, so I'm going to make sure that that blue line is on the corner and that the blue line on this corner is sticking up like that. And it should. Now see, even I kind of messed up, but the corners are connected, right? I can flip it, flip, flip. There's how I want it to be. Okay. And I'm going to say, okay, good. Now, if I did this right, and I sure hope I did, this jack stud should fit in there and should not stick down at all. And I think I did the math, but if not, we can go back and change it. So now, this jack stud, we're going to make another fasten mate. It might still be open for you. Hover around until that guy shows up in the corner. It can be a pain the way it, there we go. Click. Sometimes it takes a little bit of hovering around. Good. And let's make sure I made this jack stud the right length. Yes, I did. Okay, I was worried about that. Now this jack stud is going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to put our mate there. And come on. There. And good. All right, and we're looking good so far. Now I purposely am not putting the king stud on the other side for a reason that will become clear soon. All right, now we are going to put that 48-inch stud in. And remember, this is 48 inches long. If we do a measure here, oh, I don't have the measure tool right now. It is 48 inches from the inside of this jack stud to the inside of that jack stud. So we are going to mate our, where is my sill? Oh, for some reason my sill didn't stay there. If yours did, great. I don't know what I did. I must have hit undo or something. I'll put in my sill 48. There we go. Don't know what happened there. Oh, that's why, because I clicked off of it. All right. Now, we're again going to put this on here. Now, I'm going to show you a trick. I'm going to lock this up here in this corner, and I'm fully aware that that's not where it goes, but we're going to show you a trick. So I'm going to fasten mate. I'm going to find this corner. There we go. Of the jack stud. Now I'm going to come over here to this corner, click. Now it may or may not be in the right spot. I'm not sure what. Oh, it moved them both together. Now watch. It moved them both together. It's hard to see this. If this happens to you, you didn't do anything wrong. If I hit the flip button, there we go. I'm not sure if that goes the right place, but I can go back and fix it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the green check mark. Yeah, it's going totally the wrong way. So I'm going to go back. Let's get out of the neck. I don't want to do a next one. Let's go back into this fasten mate by double clicking on it. Now again, things might happen different for you. You have to start learning how to use the program. I'll flip this twice because it goes 90 degrees each time. There we go. Now I know it flipped the other one up, but when I hit the check mark, it will, good. Everything's back down. Now, you're going, wait, the sill should be down, right? Yes. So we're going to go double click this guy again, and now we're going to offset it. Now, see this green line? Yours might be different. Yours might have the blue line going that way, or it might have the red line going that way. I don't know. For me, I want to move it down in the same direction as the green line. For you, it might be different. So I'm going to hit offset. I'm going to go on the Y direction, and I think it's going to be negative 48, because if I go 48, I think it's going to go up. 48, enter. I really wish it wouldn't flip that other one around because it's getting confusing. That's okay. I'm going to hit check mark. Good, it went down. Now, if it went up and it was floating up above the header, then you know you need to go back into it and change it to a negative 48. So watch, I'll show you if I change it. If I change it to a negative 48, that means it'll go the other direction like that. So if yours is like that, you need to go the opposite way. So I'm going to change it back to 48. Okay, cool. There we've got our 48 by 48 window frame. Now, we may come back to this and add other frames in here later, but for now, I think this will work out. Okay, so we're now going to make our wall. So here we go. Let's go ahead and start a new assembly again. We're going to have to start keeping track of all of these things. Okay, we're going to create an assembly, plus create an assembly. Before we even get started, let's rename this thing so we know what we're doing. And let's call it left wall. So if we're looking at the front of the house, it's left wall. Okay, and we're going to drag in just one plate for now. We'll put in the other plates later. So we're going to insert plates and sills. We're going to insert one of these 32-foot long plates. Click. Now we're going to insert 2 studs. So go into your studs, and we're going to find the 92, the stud 92, and we're going to place 2 of those. 1, 2. All right. Good for now. All right. Now, I can kind of flip these around the way, however I want to, but because I just feel like I want this sitting flat, I'm going to click on that and rotate it around to 90 degrees. Come on. There we go. That will help me. Now, one of these studs is going to sit on the very end, of course. So we're going to do a make constraint. You should be understanding how these work at this point. I think I did that the wrong way, but let's, come on. Again, you kind of have to hover around a little bit. There we go. Oops. And then flip. I did it wrong. See, even I do this wrong after I've been doing it for a while. So I know what I did. I was supposed to do the end. Let me try that again. Hey, I'm going to do this corner down here with the end this time instead of the side. There we go. Now, I need to flip it. Whoops, did it once too many times. So rotate it around the main axis, and we're good. All right. Now, the next one is going to be a similar thing that we just did with an offset. So now I am going to go to this outside corner again, and we're going to put that first one in there. Now, it might get confusing because it might share the same space with this one, but we're going to be able to fix it. So I'm in a new fasten mate. I'm going to come here to this corner right here. Okay. And I'm going to come to this corner over here. Now, notice that it's inside of the other one. If I flip it up, it's going to share the space with the other one right now. And that's okay. Okay. When I come up here though, I'm going to offset now, and I'm going to go along the X direction. Now, if you remember from the last time we built the wall, we're going to offset 15.25, because remember, we're not going center to center. We're going 15.25 inches along the x-axis. Enter will give you a preview. It happens to be going the right way. Again, if it was going the wrong way, you would hit negative, and now we're looking all good. Okay. Now, if I measure this measure tool, the distance from this point to that point should be 15.25, which means to the middle of it is 16 inches, and that's what we want. All right, now this is going to be where the easy part comes. We're going to take this board right here and pattern it. So we're going to go up here to linear pattern. It says what instances I want this second stud. The direction I'm going to go, I clicked on direction, pick a line, any line, not an area. Don't do that. Pick just one line that goes the direction we want it to go. And we're going to go every 16 inches. Okay. And finally, I think it went the wrong way, so I'm going to flip that. If it looks like it's not going the right way when you put in 16, flip it that way. And now we just have to, I'm not sure how many we need. I'm going to guess 15. And when you hit enter, it will give you a little preview. Not even close. 25. Way too, oh, looks like we're just off of the end. Oh, with 25, so I'm going to need 23. There we go. Cool. Enter. All right. Now, we're going to put that one stud on the end to finish this wall. So I'm going to insert one more 92. Expand that. Come on. One more 92 stud. I'm going to use my... I hate it when I hit X. Fasten mate, find two corners that you want to put together. You should be able to kind of figure this out by now. Click on that. Click on, come on. There we go. Might need to flip it. Cool. All right, it's the way I want it to be. Excelente. Move myself out of the way. Good deal. All right, now we're going to cheat a little bit more. Now, as you learned from the Balsa Garage House about overlapping top plates in order to get them fixed, to kind of hold the tops of the walls together, but rather than have you build more stuff, we're just going to put 2 top plates on the top. And in fact, some of the framing conventions now don't require that, and there's a lot of things with single plates now to avoid insulation loss. So things are changing in that area. Let's go ahead and put in our another plate. This time I don't think I need to flip it around because I know what I'm doing, because I'm going to take this corner here. Oops, I did not mean to do that. So I'm going to exit out of that. There we go. To that right there. And we've got a wall, and I have designed this to have 2 top plates, so one more insert. We're going to put in, could have done that at the same time, sorry, but here we go. Let's put in another 32, click, and we're going to mate those 2 together. Sorry, I had to pause for a moment, so I'm not sure what I was saying, but let's connect these guys together. And that's, gotta get good at zooming in and out and moving, and double top plate. Excellent. All right, so we've got our wall. Now we're getting on to end of this video, or as long as I want it to be. So next time what we'll be doing is we'll be removing a couple of these studs, which of course we wouldn't have put them in the first place, but it's easier to do that this way in the virtual world. And we're going to put in that frame, put in a king stud, and then we'll be ready to put this wall on the house. All right, so hope that all worked out. You're going to take a picture of that and put it in there. And when you take this picture, do me a favor, please, and make sure that you've got the naming of this stuff down here and your name up here in the top. All right, that is all. See you next time. Hope it all worked out. Have a good day.